Hey, welcome to Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm Josh Cohen. Today I'm talking about my Minnesota Timberwolves again. Last video I did about the Wolves, I mentioned I might go into a little more depth talking about Ben Simmons and why I don't want the Timberwolves to trade for Ben Simmons. I've seen a lot of people wanting Ben Simmons, a lot of Wolves fans that think it's got to be Ben Simmons. I've seen obviously reports that the Wolves are maybe the last team in the conversation, in trade conversations with Philadelphia for Ben Simmons. So I think there's a very real chance that the Wolves are trying to trade for Ben Simmons. Here's why I don't want Ben Simmons. And I as I was thinking about this video, I didn't want to make it a crapping on Ben Simmons video. I didn't want to make this video just about negative about Ben Simmons because I'm not a negative person. I don't like saying negative stuff. I don't, not that Ben Simmons will ever see this video, but I'm just not about just ripping on people. But I'm not, with that said, I'm not a Ben Simmons fan. I haven't been a Ben Simmons fan since he was in college. You know, there was in college talk about him being the number 1 overall pick, and he couldn't lead his team LSU into the tournament. And I just think, man, if you're good enough, then you should be able to get your team in the tournament regardless. If you're good enough to be the number 1 overall pick, you should be able to get your team in the NCAA tournament, right? It's 68 teams, including the playoff games, including the play-in games. I think you should be able to get your team. I don't know what he had around him, but to me that was a red flag. I didn't think he was worthy of the number 1 pick. But then also, as soon as the season was over, he stopped going to class, and there was talk of him not attending class or doing his homework as much, even during the season. But obviously, just was trying to stay eligible because he was had to wait a year before going to the NBA, and I don't like that either. And I know athletes can get paid now in the NCAA. They can make money off their likeness, and maybe I'll do another video about that at some point because that's a bigger conversation for a different time. But I didn't like the way Ben Simmons just kind of didn't take his education serious. And I know it's hard when you know you're about to be the at least a top, you're going to be a lottery pick in the NBA. So I know it'd be tough to go to class and do that. But that never sat well with me. So this is a guy who's supposed to be a leader of your team and your point guard. And I didn't like that. So that being said, Philadelphia did pick him. They've done well with him and Joel Embiid. They've been in the playoffs. They've been contenders. But I don't want Ben Simmons on the Timberwolves for a couple of reasons. One, because I think we have to give up too much to get him. There was reports early on in this conversation that they wanted like a KG type trade where the Wolves gave up 5 players and 2 picks, I believe, for Kevin Garnett back in the summer of 2007. And that is absolutely ridiculous. Kevin Garnett was obviously at the time we already knew, a future Hall of Famer, a former MVP, still in his prime, maybe towards the end of his prime by 2007 when he went to Boston, but still very much a Hall of Fame player in his prime, one of the best players in the league at the time. Ben Simmons is not that. Ben Simmons might end up someday being there, but he is not that right now. So there's no way, and I don't think the Wolves are stupid enough to give up that much for Ben Simmons. But obviously that shows you where Philadelphia is thinking, and if that's your starting point, I hang up immediately if I'm the Wolves. I want nothing to do with that. Even if you're talking about giving up D'Angelo Russell, maybe another role player, Malik Beasley, and some picks, I don't think he's worth it. I don't want to give up that much for Ben Simmons because I think we don't know what this core can fully do yet. And maybe because of injuries, we'll never know, or maybe, eventually you got to move on because you got to win. You can't keep missing the playoffs year after year after year and not even get close. But I think we still haven't really seen even just D'Lo and Cat, and then add Anthony Edwards into the mix. I don't want to break up that group, and I don't want to do anything that's going to disrupt that group, because even if, let's say, you keep those 3 and Philadelphia will take some lesser pieces or some picks for Ben Simmons is a ball-dominant guard. He needs the ball in his hands. So if he has the ball in his hands, that means D'Lo doesn't have the ball in his hands. That means Ant doesn't have the ball as much. Cat's got to get his touches. And I think bringing in a guy that's ball-dominant is going to take touches away from these other guys and them finding their role. But I don't think it's the fit with this team, not to mention the fact that with D'Lo playing the point, is Ben Simmons going to play the 3 or the 4? What does that look like? Yes, he's a good defender, but can he defend down in the post where Cat needs help? Or is he going to have to defend on the wing? And then he's your 4 defending on the wing. Doesn't help Cat defensively down low, who we all know needs some help on defense. So all that to say, if the price tag gets real low, maybe at the trade deadline or something, and we can give up some lesser role players or something, then I'll say, okay, let's add him into the mix and see what he can do. But I'm definitely not for giving up a bunch of stuff for Ben Simmons. And maybe, we're beggars can't be choosers with the Timberwolves, and we need to just get whatever talent we can get. But I still think our biggest need is shooting, and Ben Simmons isn't a shooter. So I don't want to bring it. I want a guy that can catch and shoot. I think that would support D'Lo and Cat really well. A guy that can catch and shoot. Honestly, I'd rather bring Kevin Love back. There's talks that maybe he's available with the Cavs bringing in Lauri Markkanen, but I want somebody that can shoot. Probably not realistic to bring Kevin Love back. I'm just saying, I don't want Ben Simmons. All that to say, this video is longer than it probably should have been, but I'm okay if we don't trade for Ben Simmons. I don't want him. But let me know what you think. Do you think that we should trade for Ben Simmons? Do you want him? What's the right amount to give up for Ben Simmons? Let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.